Maker is Congressman Steve Israel. He and fellow New York Senator Kristen Gillibrand sent a letter to the chairman of the U.S. Olympic Committee saying this: as American fans cheer for our Olympians, we should also be cheering for the American manufacturers and laborers reflected in the red, white, and blue on their uniforms. We look forward to seeing all our uniforms saying Made in America at the 2014 Winter Games, Winter Olympics in Russia. Congressman Steve Israel is our guest this morning. From that letter, it sounds like you're already giving it up on this one and looking toward 2014. Do you think it's not possible to make any changes? I mean, Harry Reid's suggesting burning the whole thing.
Well, the letter is our minimal request. We actually believe that this is the country that landed man on the moon. We should be able to manufacture clothing for our Olympic athletes in London next month. You know, you can go to Rochester, you can go to Buffalo, you can go to Ohio. There are companies and people waiting to make those uniforms, and we can have the job done and have those uniforms shipped in time for the Olympics in August.
You know, when you look at the actual numbers, though, I think by some math, 98% of clothing manufacturing is done overseas. Why are you so mad about it when clearly Ralph Lauren, who's the designer, who's volunteered and is the sponsor for this, clearly makes his clothes overseas in China? What's the big deal, I think some would say?
Well, this is a big deal. Made in America is not just a label, it is an economic solution. This is a $1 billion divestment from manufacturing jobs in the United States to manufacturing jobs in China. And I think it's fundamentally wrong. 600,000 vacant manufacturing positions in the United States right now. Outsourcing this job to China just doesn't make sense, Soledad. These are our Olympic athletes. Look, the Olympic Committee and all Americans appreciate the hard work, the dedication, and the skill of our athletes. They are inspiring. But I think the Olympic Committee should appreciate the hard work, the dedication, and the skill of American manufacturers, which are not only inspiring, but in a demand economy, need that contract, need the ability to make those products and enable our athletes to march into the Olympic Stadium in those products.
Hey, Congressman, this is Will Kane. Listen, there looks to be bipartisan outrage on this issue. Both Republicans and Democrats seem to think there's something worthy of outrage here, but as Soledad points out, we manufacture so many clothes overseas. It seems to me you're asking the Olympic Committee and Ralph Lauren, designing clothes for them, to do something economically irrational out of patriotism. And in the end, I guess I see this as, is there not a little bit of political demagoguing going on here? Burn the clothes?
No, we're not asking them to do this simply out of American patriotism, although this is a matter of pride. We're asking them to do this as a matter of economic strategy. There's this kind of myth out there that America has lost its ability to manufacture clothing, and therefore that's why 98% of clothing is manufactured offshore. It is a myth. We have 14 million people unemployed, and we are taking $1 billion away from those people and transferring that to China. It is just bad economics. It's not only injurious to our pride, it's injurious to our economy.
I talked to the designer Nanette Lepore a little bit earlier this morning, and here's what she said. Let's play a little piece.
There would be so many factories that would be thrilled just to get the opportunity because they know it could lead to more work. So that not only would designers be willing to work and to participate, even if it meant free of charge, but factories and cutting rooms and, you know, pattern makers, they would all opportunity.
She basically said, listen, you'd be surprised how quickly you can turn stuff around, especially in a New York manufacturing floor, a clothing floor. Is this something that you're going to continue to try to push to see if you actually could clothe the Olympic athletes in something other than Ralph Lauren made in China?
Well, I tell you, anytime you can get John Boehner and Nancy Pelosi to agree on something, do it. And there is bipartisan support for pushing the Olympic Committee to reverse this decision. One of my favorite movies in the world, Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. If you order the clothing, Americans will sew it, and we can make money on it and make sure that when our athletes go to the Olympics, they're going to the Olympics not just representing America's pride, but wearing America's products.
We'll see if that happens. Congressman Steve Israel joining us this morning, Democrat from New York. Nice to see you, sir. Thanks for being with us. Just about 20 minutes.